Hi, this is Zach May with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 16th of September. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which, although it's off the highs, is still within that rising trend channel from back in June. Floor of the channel there around 9,200. Worst case at the moment is the 50-day line there at 91.31 and RSI at 57, so still above neutral 50. We haven't been below the 50-day line since the beginning of May, so even saying or suggesting that there could be a test of the 50-day line is actually quite a sticking the neck out type of thing. But the RSI still above neutral 50, still looking for a rebound to kick in, and as high as 9,500 by the end of next month at the top of that channel. Moving along to the DAX, and here we are still bumping along the bottom of that rising trend channel from April. The level around 23,600, not quite sure why it's so dull there, but a falling 50-day line, and in fact, with the multiple failures below neutral 50 in the RSI window, we should already have rolled over at least towards August support around 23,400 and even the 23,000 area, which was the low in June. But so far, managing to hold up, even though the technicals suggest maybe we should be falling further. The Dow is next, and here it's been a case of holding that breakout through 45,000, which took several attempts. Top of the channel there, 47,600. We're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the 45,000 level and also the area of the 50-day line just below it at 44,800. RSI in a good place, just oscillating either side of the 60 level without getting overbought and without going anywhere near the neutral 50 level, which would be a potential danger zone. The state of Bitcoin is next, and the situation of Bitcoin rather is next. And here we're finding support above RSI 50, and perhaps more importantly above the 50-day line there at 114. Above that, we're looking for a break of this what we regard as a bull flag at 117 and a move up to as high as the top of the channel there at 132 by the end of next month. Ideally, whatever happens on any dips or rug pulls, we stay above the floor of the channel there from March at 110, and that area would also be a potential buying opportunity. Worst case here, I suppose that there might be some weird rug pull down towards the 200-day moving average at 102, but at the moment we're just relying on this market to stay within that channel from the end of February, beginning of March. Ethereum is next, and here we're still hoping and willing this market to head up to 5,500. We were looking for it to do that by the end of this month, but now it looks like it might have to be by the end of next month. The worst case at the moment is, worst expectation is it will have to test the 50-day line there, 42.75. Ideally, we stay above the floor of that July trend channel around 44.50, and that becomes the platform for a move up to 5,500 by the end of October. Gold is next, and here it's been plain sailing for the bulls, and looks like it's going to be even plainer sailing, if that's the right way of describing it. Rising trend channel here from April, top of the channel there, 38.50. We're looking for that by the end of next month. We might even get that by the end of this month, while we remain on the right side of 3,600, which has been recent intraday support. A very strong looking situation there, almost a limit up type of situation on that. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with E-Star, which made nice noises about VMSs and stuff like that. Bouncing and gapping higher above a rising 50-day line. That leaves us looking for the top of that rising trend channel base at 2.75 pence. We've already hit our previous target there at 1.8, so I got rid of that. But now the level in question, support area around 1.7 and the 50-day line, and looking forward to 2.75 pence by the end of next month or even sooner, while we're above that 50-day moving average. On to Focusrite, which anybody who's musically inclined will know is quite a interesting situation. It's the sort of product you almost imagine that Apple would buy to go with GarageBand, etc. But in the meantime, we've gapped up through the August peak there at 178, and above that and above the 200-day line at 184, looking for £2.20 as soon as the end of next month. Maybe something going on there in an exciting way. Onto a stock which I thought would think that hardly anyone in the world's heard of, apart from the company itself, which is FIH Group. Here we've got a sharp rising trend channel in place since March. The shares too strong to even go near the floor of the channel there, and the old peak there around £2.52. Above that, we're looking for the top of the channel as high as £4 by the end of next month. It's a punchy call, but it's a very punchy chart as well, with that V-shaped bull flag breakout, as I call it, through 285. Next up is the first of our radiation nuclear stocks, which is the first one is Geiger counter, and here you can see we've got a wide rising trend channel. That's been in place since the turn of the year. Top of the channel there at 75 pence, which is what we're looking for now by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of 50 and the right side of the floor of that rising trend channel. The other point to note, apart from the way that we bounced above the 50-day line, is we've had a clear RSI 50 plus rebound, which tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. Moving along to Hemogenyx, which has been one of the best calls here all the year, and maybe for many years actually, in terms of degree of difficulty, believability as well, and just the general interplay between the chart and the news flow. What's interesting here is that previously we said that above 12 pence, there was nothing really between there and 16 pence, and the shares already proving that. So hopefully we'll get 16 pence by the end of the day. And the next interesting point here is that above 16, there's nothing really between there and 24 pence. So in fact, that would peak back in February last year, up at 25.2 pence. So that's basically what we're looking for above 16, so above 16.25. And the way things are going, we'll get that by the end of this month. On the downside, I suppose the 12 to 14 pence area, the logical and rational support for the shares. But what an experience it has been for shareholders. On to another experience, not quite as exciting so far, but core Potash starting to stir, as is indeed Emerson, which is interesting, but I'll cover that on a separate occasion. Here we've broken through recent 3.25 pence resistance, looking for up to 5 pence by the end of next month at the top of the range and the top of that channel, given that the RSI rebounds above neutral 50 in the way that the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising. So ideally we stay on the right side of 3 pence. On to Manx, which has had a decent push to the upside today on news with Finu and the plug-in overdraft. Here we've got the rising trend channel. We already covered the shares before, and they've hit all our previous targets. We're now looking for 45 pence by the end of this month, while we remain above the floor of the channel at 32 pence. RSI 50 rebound helping the cause in recent days. On to Mast Energy, where the theory that the shares would go all the way back up after that unhelpful RNS that the company delivered last week looks to be happening above the 50-day line now at 98 pence, looking for a minimum at the old support there around £1.34. But as I said, that looked like a false rug pull, and wouldn't be surprised if we got it back up to £2 by the end of next month while we're above that 50-day line. Still haven't got the RSI back above neutral 50, which is perhaps the only thing missing. On to Silver Bullet, which I think a long time ago had a very decent rally, which was actually, I suppose, a couple of years ago now. Current situation is that it looks as though we've got a base in place, bear trap rebound from below 27 pence, which was the old March-April support. Above that, looking for the 200-day line at 40 pence by the end of this month. tinyBuild's been rising ahead of today's announcement. It looks like everyone and their mother was expecting a good result today, and the company delivered that. What's interesting is that it was actually as good to arrive as it was to travel. But here we had textbook breakout there through 6.5 pence, and a gap higher as well. Shares hitting our target there around 11.6 pence, right on the nose, and I suppose might be worth looking to see that above that level we could get up to 18. So it's basically 6, 12, and 18, the numbers there. So very mathematical indeed, helped along by the extended rebound above the RSI 50 level we had throughout August. On to Yellow Cake, another situation which is radioactive. Here you can see you've got a rising trend channel, top of the channel there heading for £6.30, which we're looking for by the end of next month, while we remain above the floor of the gap there, £5.25. Double RSI 50 rebound in the recent past, and that makes this look pretty good indeed. Right, the only thing missing probably is the 200-day line rising, which I'm sure it'll do in the coming days. Finishing off with WeCap, which is now tantalizingly close to being listed on the Nasdaq, as the company rather sheepishly hinted once again today. Here we've had a gap higher above the rising 50-day line, which tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. We've also had an extended RSI 50 rebound since the end of last month. So looking for 2.3 pence by the end of this month, while we're above the old target, previous target there around 1.8 pence and the 50-day line. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.